Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Year 12 2021 Parent Information Evening. This is a new format for us, one of many adjustments that we've made through these unprecedented times. Please bear with us if there's any technical issues. You would have received two links to access the webinars this evening, a link for Uni MyWay and a link for VOC MyWay. This presentation is for VOC MyWay. If you need to change webinars, please do so now by accessing the other link provided in the email sent out yesterday afternoon. You will notice your microphone is muted and your camera is turned off. We ask that you please do not alter these settings during the meeting. We know that there will be a number of questions after all of the information has been presented. Please write these down and there will be an opportunity to send them through via the chat function in the last 15 minutes of the meeting. This webinar is being recorded and you will be sent an email later this week with the link to access it should you wish to view it again. We will now begin with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Lord, thank you for the unique gifts of every child as they begin the transition into Year 12. Fill each student with fresh enthusiasm and a heart that is excited to learn and grow. Cover them with your enduring love, give them confidence and grace to equip them with the ability to persevere through challenging times. Bless their parents and families with wisdom, understanding and a heart to serve as they embark on the journey together. We ask this in your name. Amen. And Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. The aims of this evening are to discuss the options available to Year 12 students in 2021 and also the course selection process for Year 12 2021. Before we begin the actual presentation though, I'd like to introduce our principal, Mr. Jeff Allen, to welcome you.
Thanks, Nerida. Can I just add my very warm welcome to everybody to our Parent Information Evening this evening. It's a brave new world, so our students work through this process through their remote learning program, so we're doing the same. We've certainly been inspired by our students to try some different things, and this is one of those. So we're really grateful for your engagement in our information evening tonight, and we really thank you for logging on and for following us tonight. So can I just whilst I am online, just to acknowledge and to thank you for the wonderful support that we've received from families during the COVID-19 situation. I know that there was a lot of work put in from teachers to make sure our remote learning program was of a high quality and a high standard. And I'm really grateful for the support of our families and our students for making sure that they really worked hard during those really difficult times. And can we also just thank you for your continued support as we get back into the regular routines of our school life. So just wanted to make mention of that and to really thank you for that. Seems like we were just talking about our students entering into Year 11 and now we're talking about them entering into Year 12. So it certainly shows how time does fly. It can be a very daunting time for our students, but equally a very exciting time for our students as they move into Year 12. And we want them to enjoy this wonderful phase. We want them to celebrate this special time in their lives, and we want them to be really well prepared for this process. So just a few hints from me, and you'll hear a lot from Nerida tonight. A lot of information will be presented and obviously accessible afterwards via the video, and we'll send all that information home through to you. But we're all about setting our students up for success. It's really that simple. You know, for those students that have chosen a VOC MyWay pathway, and there's some outstanding opportunities and some excellent options currently and also post-school. And we've just got an outstanding pathways team that's there to provide incredible support for our kids. So at this particular point in time, it's a lovely opportunity for our students to reflect upon their current course. Does it match their skills, their abilities, their interests? Do we need to tweak or massage that course moving into Year 12? And that's when we certainly encourage our students to make contact with our Pathways team and have those terrific conversations. We have so many different connections and so many different support mechanisms in place at the school. And we invite you along with your sons and daughters to be a part of that conversation. If I look back at some of our successful students in Year 12, irrespective of their pathway, there are no shortcuts, no shortcuts for success. Those students that achieve well are really self-motivated, they're self-regulated, and they apply great effort to their studies into Year 12. There's no shortcut, it's as simple as that. Those students that collaborate and work together and put learning as their #1 priority are the ones that achieve great success at the end of it. We encourage our students to adopt strong and good study habits in Year 11. It's no good waiting till Year 12 and just flicking the switch and hoping it all happens, because it won't. We want our students to really hit the ground running when they hit Year 12, and that's through great perseverance, through great consideration and reflection on how they're learning, and be open to new ideas. Speaking of which, my initial point about seeking advice and assistance often, we've got homework clubs, we've got a plethora of support mechanisms available at the school. We've got our teachers that provide incredible formative and summative assessment feedback. So we certainly encourage our students to take full advantage of that and to seek out assistance whenever they need it. We want our students to own their own learning and to reach out when they need assistance. You hear a lot of information tonight. My job here is just to welcome you to this evening and to thank you for being a part of it. We certainly wish our students all the very best as they enter through this next very, very exciting new phase of their lives. And it's now my role to pass you back to Nerida. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Allen. One thing about the VOC MyWay pathway, I can assure you, is it is very personalised. Our #1 goal for all of our students is the West Australian Certificate of Education. For some, that will lead to employment, others TAFE, and others university. And it can be achieved via ATAR subjects, general subjects, their VET courses, and even their endorsed programs. So it's tailor-made to the needs of the individual. With the WACE requirements, there's certain rules in place to ensure the WACE requirements are met and that students achieve a depth and breadth of study. We don't want them to specialise too early, and certainly not at school. They can certainly do that post-school with the destinations on offer. With those rules in place, we track the students very closely to ensure they are progressing towards the ultimate goal of WACE. So you'll notice it's listed on the slide. They need to complete at least 20 units. 10 of these must be in Year 12. They need to achieve 14 C grades or higher. At least 6 of those C grades must come from Year 12, and they need to have achieved their honour, all part of meeting the achievement standard of WACE. So it's very important. The achievement is spread over Year 11 and 12. They can't just cruise through Year 11 and, as Mr. Allen said, flick the switch in Year 12 thinking they'll have time to make it up. The achievement and completion of units needs to be spread over Year 11 and Year 12. SCARSA recognises that some students are more hands-on and they learn better through their VET programs and their endorsed courses. All of these contribute to WACE. Basically, 55 hours of study equals a C grade. So you can see from the slide that students can actually offset those WACE requirements with the VET quals or endorsed programs. So for example, a Cert 3 in business, that earns the student an equivalent 6 units. So that's the equivalent of 6 C grades. Basically, a student who maybe is more hands-on, more practical, they're going to gain 6 units over Year 11 and 12, as opposed to 4 grades from a traditional general subject. We actually find many of our students on the VOC MyWay pathway max out their unit equivalents. You can only have a total of 8 come from VET and 4 of those from the endorsed programs. We'll speak more about the endorsed programs later, but the ones you're most familiar with are workplace learning and Christian service learning. So the endorsed units count and are acknowledged. So the learning that goes on off campus or outside of the traditional classroom setting. So 55 is that magic number. And all of this extra learning will appear on a student's West Australian Student Statement of Achievement at the end of Year 12. So you can see from the slide, 1 unit equivalents for 55 hours of Christian service learning, 55 hours of workplace learning, so on the job will gain them 1 unit equivalents, and they might be involved in some other programs outside of school, such as your surf lifesaving, army cadets, girls brigade, music examinations and so on. Students just need to provide evidence of their enrolment in these provider developed programs and bring me a copy of their certificate, and we will enrol them, result them and have them appear on their statement. You may recall the transition from Year 10 to 11. It was big and it was pretty unknown. Well, the good news is from Year 11 to Year 12, it's not usually too concerning, not too many changes. Students are quite settled in their pathway. They might tweak it, they know what to expect. So the process is relatively easy for them and also for yourself. This slide shows you page 18 and 19 out of the curriculum handbook. The link was sent out to parents in an email, and if you've misplaced it, you can certainly download the curriculum handbook from sector documents. It lists all of the subjects on offer in Year 12 2021, so general subjects and ATAR subjects. So pick out the general subjects and the VET certificates. An ATAR subject that might appeal to someone on the MyWay pathway is maths application. So often students wanting to pursue electronics or electrotechnology, if recommended for the higher maths, the maths applications, the ATAR subject, we strongly recommend they pursue it because it will certainly link to future career aspirations. In Year 11, the units are Unit 1 and 2, and they follow on into Year 12 with Unit 3 and 4. So a MyWay pathway is made up of a number of subjects, and it will look something like this. So the top 4 subjects are actually compulsory. We take it very seriously. We want to get our students work ready. So it will look like this: English General, Religion and Life General, the maths course as per recommendations. So if recommended for maths applications, we suggest you do go with that. And then Careers and Enterprise General. That's one of the compulsory ones and includes workplace learning. We'll talk more about workplace learning in a moment. That leaves 2 subject options for students, and we suggest that they go for something that interests them, that they can do very well at, that will bring some joy to their learning, and finally, it may in fact link to future career goals. One of those subjects may even be a VET certificate delivered in-house. Workplace learning, it's valued at the college and it's packaged with the Careers and Enterprise course. It certainly adds value for students on this pathway. They have the opportunity for job sampling, so an opportunity to try different industries, different occupations without actually committing more than 9 or 10 days. They get to develop employability skills for work, which of course transfer from industry to industry. They have an opportunity to explore possible career pathways. And sometimes they come to the end of the workplace learning and say, oh, that's not for me. But, that's a great outcome. At least they then know and don't pursue it further. They can eliminate it from their list of options. And the last one is the networking and industry contacts. There's times where students have been in a workplace, they're in the right place at the right time. The workplace might be looking for an apprentice and they've had a chance to trial the student's had a chance to trial the industry, and all the stars align and, there's an offer of an apprenticeship. That's in an ideal world, and we get very excited when that happens. The more exposure to the world of work, the more work ready our students are going to be when they leave us. It works really well for the fact that subjects on the general pathway do not have exams. So during the semester 1 and semester 2 exam breaks, which are 9 or 10 days in length, basically our students continue their learning, but it's off campus in a workplace. So it keeps them busy and it just adds to their learning and getting them work ready. The workplace learning is fabulous, and there's lots of bonuses to be gained, but it's also considered as an endorsed unit. So 55 hours in the workplace, they will get an additional unit equivalence, that additional C grade. So I have a little video clip here. I think it's probably best that you hear from two of our current students.
My name is Brooke Curiata and I'm currently a Year 12 student at Servite College.
My name is Jordan Palacis. I'm currently a Year 12 student at Servite College.
The Careers and Enterprise course is about you, the workplace, and you in the workplace. It is a subject for all students on the general pathway, and it's taught by Mrs. Williams, Mr. Skirpa and Mr. Henderson.
Careers and Enterprise involves learning to be proactive and responsible for your own personal career development. You reflect on your own skills, attributes and talents and use them to aid you in keeping work. The Careers and Enterprise course teaches us about the Australian workforce and how, as a young student and a worker, I can break into the labour market. We learn skills mainly about careers options, apprenticeships, traineeships, and where to find these resources to support us.
You learn about personality theories, goal setting, networking, diversity, equal employment and workplace safety, which are all employability skills that can be transferable and used in all occupations. In my current job as a gymnastics coach, I've learned how to better interact with clients and co-workers, and I've explored how I could turn it into a full-time career if that would suit me.
Through the Careers and Enterprise subject, I've gained lots of skills and it has led me to knowing what I want to do in the future.
You learn about the various methods to find a job and also how to create an electronic career portfolio and a high quality resume which will stand out to employers for the right reasons. I really like that this subject and the knowledge taught truly applies to your life, and you can be work ready the day you leave school and apply all the skills to the workforce.
I especially liked that workplace learning was put together with the Careers and Enterprise course. You actually got the opportunity to put what I wanted to do and all this theory that we learned in class to practice. And we got a taste of the workforce. So you can see actually if it's what you wanted to do or not to help you decide what you want to do after school.
In Year 11, I completed my workplace learning at Starbright Early Learning Centre, and I really enjoyed it, and it confirmed that this might be the pathway for me in the future. It led me to enrolling in a Cert 4 in Education Support in Year 12. I feel 100% ready to go into the workplace and be a successful employee due to the Careers and Enterprise course. It has given me transferable skills which we all need in the workplace, and has taught me the importance of time management, great communication skills, building networks and how to utilise more experienced workers as mentors.
I'm interested in taking the gap year in the Army, which is a 12-month course. Enrolling with the Australian Defence Force. Through this course, I'm aware of the pros and cons of taking the gap year. Careers and Enterprise has also given me the chance to develop my transferable skills. I'm walking away from Year 12 with all of the stuff I have learned from careers over the years, and I can honestly say and feel ready to enter the workforce.
Okay, I certainly feel very proud when I hear those two students speak, and it confirms for me Careers and Enterprise packaged with the workplace learning is an ideal opportunity for students on the VOC MyWay, our general pathway, to get themselves work ready and feel confident and prepared when they leave us at Servite College. So 2 other options we have, these are subject options, is the Certificate 2 in Sport Coaching. It's delivered over 1 year, and the Certificate 3 in Business. Now that's delivered over 2 years. So students that choose the Certificate 3 in Business, they're in an ongoing position. They're partway through the course and will continue it into year 12. So if you haven't signed up for business in year 11, unfortunately, it's not available to you in year 12. What I'm going to show you now is some external delivery of VET that we also have on offer. So year 11 is very much about job sampling and trialling different occupations, different industries, and getting a little taste for what might suit your interests, your abilities, and your future plans. In year 12, some students decide that they want to go a bit more industry specific, and I have to stress, this is an extra, it's not compulsory. It very much relies on the student being proactive, and it's for the student that wants to pursue something quite specific. So to achieve that, we have some long-standing partnerships that we've established over the past 15 years, and they're listed on the screen. So the College of Electrical Training, ERTEC, who advised me today, they're now called the Motivational Civil Construction and Mining Group, Fremantle Education Centre, we've got the Health Sciences Hub, we've got Hospitality Group Training, the Master Plumbers and Painters Association, the Motor Trades Association, and of course the TAFEs, both North Metro and South Metro TAFE. Part of my role as the Head of Learning in VET is to source opportunities for students, to make connections for them in areas of interest. And certainly these are the areas that have appealed to our students in the last 10 years or so. So aeronautics, automotive, the trades, the non-trades, so the paraprofessional roles in the building and construction industry. There's some students currently doing business administration in both legal and medical fields. There's carpentry, commercial cookery, data and voice communications, electronics, electrotechnology, hairdressing as a salon assistant at Cert 2, hospitality, metals and engineering, and plumbing. Now this list is by no means as is. It really is relying on students to come and have a chat with me and tell me about an area of interest. You'll notice from those listed though that they're industries we cannot cater for at school. So we outsource them to those registered training organisations I mentioned previously. I need to reiterate though, it's not compulsory, it's an extra, and these external certificates actually make up a subject on your course. So you'd have your 4 compulsory, English, Maths, RE, Careers and Enterprise. Your 5th subject would be your external certificate, and your 6th would be a study line. You still need to choose 2 reserves though, especially as you may not be successful in your application. So all information will be advertised to families via sector. So on the weekend, I sent out information with promoting courses for North Metro, South Metro and on-site. The application processes vary, so they're either completed online or sent directly to the RTO. The deadlines are to be confirmed, so I will be in touch promoting those deadlines. But the 31st of August is the deadline for the TAFE. So you must know the places are competitive, so applying is not a guarantee of gaining a place. However, the process is very personalised. Students will be assisted by the Pathways team. So they need to pop up to the Pathways office and see either Mrs. Williams or Mrs. Damasi, and we will help them individually with their online application. And there might be something they have in mind, and we can always recommend other courses that they could apply for as well. They will be advised at the end of or midterm 4 as to whether they've been successful or not. And if not successful, we continue with the workplace learning and maybe getting them out into their area of interest. Another option that we only have available for Year 12 students is the Certificate 4s. Now these are a fee for service. So these are for students on the VOC MyWay pathway who really are keen to get to university but are looking to do it in a non-traditional way. So these courses, we've got a Certificate 4 in Business, Certificate 4 in Education Support, Certificate 4 in Community Services. They're all delivered by Fremantle Education Centre in Fremantle, and that's a face-to-face delivery. And then we have the Health Sciences Hub, who offer a Cert 4 in Preparation for Health and Nursing Studies. The fees are listed on the slide, and they are paid direct to the training provider. So they are on top of school fees. And again, it's not compulsory. It's just for students looking for a vehicle, if you like, to get them to university via an alternative entry. Doing a Cert 4 in business doesn't mean you have to pursue business at university. It's simply the Cert 4 level qualification that will set them up to then move into an enabling course and prepare them for university and that transition to university life. In terms of post-school destinations, all of the research says ATAR is not the best predictor of future success. In fact, it's only about 24% of students that enter uni the traditional way. So students on the MyWay pathway tend to fit into one of these 4 categories, either direct entry to employment after year 12, hence we aim to get them work ready, further study, so with one of the state training providers, one of the TAFEs, or a private RTO, that's a registered training organisation. They might be looking at further training via an apprenticeship or traineeship, and in that case, the networking they gain from workplace learning is again very vital. And then the Certificate 4, so that will gain entry to some courses at selected universities. All of our Cert 4 students, it sets them up for diplomas and advanced diplomas at TAFE, but if they want to use it as a vehicle to gain entry to university, they will be signing up to an enabling course in the first 6 months of university life. So Mr. Skiripa assists them with that in September of year 12. Many of the students actually go to TAFE at the end of year 12, and some of them even decide to leave at the end of year 11. So I thought it was an ideal opportunity to walk you through the process. TAFE opens in the first week of September each year and then closes the first week of December. So with the courses, a student lodges an application. It's an online application process. 70% of courses have a minimum entry requirement. So literacy and numeracy. 30% of the courses, though, are very competitive. Excuse me. That means that they are oversubscribed. More students apply than places available. So for the competitive courses, beg your pardon. For those competitive courses, students are ranked using a selection criteria. So this slide focuses on the non-competitive. So basically the student lodges an application, they check that, TAFE checks that they meet the minimum literacy and numeracy requirements. If they meet the requirement, they get made an offer via email, and it's all pretty instant. If they don't meet the minimum entry requirements, there will be no offer. For those non-competitive courses, our students will leave us as a school leaver. So you can see the requirements there for a school leaver. If they haven't achieved their OLNA, it's not the end of the world. They can actually use their VET qualification to enter TAFE. This particular slide is showing you entry to the competitive courses. So remember, these are the 30% that need to be ranked so that they can satisfy the numbers. So it has a number of steps. Historically, these are oversubscribed, so the best way they can rank their applicants is looking at academic standing and also work history. So again, if you're looking at a school leaver, you've got OLNA, and if not OLNA, a VET qualification that will help you gain entry. Step 2 is where you actually provide some evidence. So 60 points is the maximum for academic achievement. And you'll notice they'll take your 3 best subjects and grades or a completed VET qualification. So they'll actually do the calculation on the grades and the calculation on the VET qualification, and they will take whichever generates the highest score. They also take the remaining 30 points, which gives you a total of 90 points maximum, and that comes from your work history. Hence, workplace learning, work experience, community service, Volunteer work is just also important in the big picture. It's really important that students have evidence of their work histories. So whether that's their logbook for workplace learning, they might have pay slips from their casual employment, and it might even be their community service report. I'll just show you these couple of slides very quickly. You've got a Year 12 student on the general pathway. I've circled A, B, C grades. So let's look at a student earning 3B grades. That's 3 times 15. 45 would be the mark generated for academic versus a Year 12 student, say they've done a certificate 2 at school and they're wanting to apply for a certificate 4 after school. You'll see there I've circled 25 points. So in that case, it's more beneficial to the student that they use their top 3 marks. It's vital that students on this pathway take it seriously and strive for excellence. There's so many opportunities for them to maximise entry to both TAFE and also open doors to other opportunities. So, having a completed vet certificate is going to be beneficial. Employment, hence we factor in the workplace learning program. Work experience and evidence of casual work. The academic merit, maximising their grades, you can see how it works in their favour for TAFE applications, and also, creating and curating a portfolio. So if they're interested in design, photography, makeup, construction, they take lots of photos on their phones. So, print some out and start creating a portfolio, or even an electronic portfolio on your iPad would be even better. So there's some links here for further information. So they would be very useful for you to have a look at different options. I'm now going to introduce you to Mr. Brett Damon, Head of Community for the Scenario Priory. He's going to talk about course selections and other important dates relevant to our current Year 11s.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you've been getting lots of good questions organised for a little bit later on. And I'm just going to go through, as Nerida said, just a few bits of important information coming up over the next few weeks. So what you will have also received, and we encourage you to download the document via the link that you've been said, is regarding the course selections. So the document you can see on the screen now, you'll need to download that document and have it fully completed before your child comes on Tuesday for their meeting there with their course advisor. We do strongly encourage that parents attend that subject selection meeting so that you can discuss with your child's course advisor if there are any concerns about the subjects that they are looking at choosing, what pathway they are wanting to go on post Year 12, if they are looking at going to TAFE or trying to get into university or the workforce. And also Nerida is available on that day as well for any student that is looking at doing an external cert in 2021. So please, can we really ensure that that form is fully completed before coming on Tuesday? And you'll notice that there are what we call reserve subjects. So students need to select 6 subjects that they are going to study next year or looking at studying next year. And they need to have 2 reserves. Now these reserves need to be subjects that they are willing to study, because ultimately what we've found in the past is that reserve 7 and 8 sometimes are used because the timetable doesn't fit, and therefore students say, well, I don't want to do that subject. So we really need to make sure that the 8 subjects, so that's the 7th and 8th with reserves, are subjects that they are willing to choose for 2021. Other key points that we want to discuss before Tuesday's meeting is discuss your child's strengths and their interests. So making sure that they are choosing subjects that they have strengths for and an interest in, not just a matter of going, well, I have to do that subject. We want to make sure that they get the most out of those subjects that can prepare them for life after school. Please make sure that you also read through the Year 11 and 12 curriculum guide together, not just you and not just your child, so that if there are any questions and you can't answer them together, then you can bring those on Tuesday, or you can ask your child to drop into the Pathways office to discuss that with Miss Williams or Mr. Skirapa. And seek feedback from subject teachers to discuss recommendations if they're looking at going into a subject next year and they're not doing as well as they would have liked, then to discuss with their teacher whether that is the best option for them next year, or whether they should look at an alternative subject that may be more suited to their strengths going forward into 2021. just want to go through some key dates, and I do realise that your child may already be on the VOC MyWay pathway and certainly continuing on with that next year, and so therefore some of these dates may not necessarily be possible. But we are well aware that there may be parents that have joined in with us tonight that are looking at change, or their child's looking at changing into a VOC MyWay pathway next year, but they're currently doing a Uni MyWay course this year. So we just need to make sure we cover all bases there. So as mentioned, subject selection interviews are on Tuesday, the 4th of August. And what we will ask parents to do if they are coming is to come report directly to the ARC, and we'll have a sign-in iPad and notebook there, just so that we can make sure that we're catering for everyone that's coming into our school grounds with COVID, and also there will be some cleaning products for each of the tables and hand sanitizer as you walk in. Obviously, the social event for the Year 11s has been pushed back, but we are happy to confirm that the Year 11 dinner dance will be on Saturday, the 12th of September, still at Aqua, and still a 6:30 start, but obviously that's the Saturday night. So that, unfortunately, for some, that was the date we could get, but the Year 11s are really excited. They still do get a social event, whereas a number of other schools have not got one. So we're very fortunate in that regard. The Year 11 farewell mass will be on Wednesday, the 4th of November, which will occur during their PCP period, and more information will come out about that next term. Workplace learning for students that are on the VOC MyWay pathway from Monday, the 9th of November through to Friday, the 20th of November. Now, if your child is on a VOC MyWay pathway, you will notice that Thursday and Friday, there's a bit of a gap in there between the farewell mass and workplace learning starting. If they are studying all general subjects, then those 2 days are days for them at home where they can get prepared for their workplace learning. Making sure they've got the right attire, if they need to get their hair done, some new shoes, or whatever their workplace learning environment is, to make sure they're fully prepared for that. Those students that are doing exams will commence their exams on Friday, the 9th of November, and they will go through to Monday, the 16th of November. Thursday, the 5th of November, is a study day for those students that are doing exams. After the exams have completed, we do have the Year 11 exam feedback day on Thursday, the 19th of November, where students will come back in to get some feedback on their exams. And we certainly know that there are some students at the moment that might be on a VOC MyWay pathway, but might be doing 1 or 2 ATAR subjects. And so there would be some valuable feedback for them after those exams as to whether they want to continue in with that ATAR path subject for next year, or whether they want to change to one of the general subjects. And obviously, bearing in mind, if they do an ATAR subject in Year 12, then there are the exams at the end of the year that they are required to sit. So that might be something that plays on their mind and helps their decision about the validity of them doing that subject and whether they need that for their journey beyond Year 12. Those students that are doing workplace learning, their logbooks are due on Monday, the 23rd of November. Fully completed, and we can't sign off on those requirements until those logbooks are fully completed, signed, and returned to the Pathways office. So that's very important that that information is completed correctly, because if it's not, then they'll be sent away, and then they'll have to make an alternative arrangement to come back in to complete those logbooks. And finally, the Year 11 for this year officially ends at the end of the year at the College Awards night on Monday, the 30th of November. That is a requirement for all students in Year 11 to attend. So that is the final day essentially for the Year 11. So they need to make sure that they are dressed appropriately, hair, makeup, uniform for that evening. And then post that evening, then their 2020 year has completed. Now I'm going to pass back to Nerida for some questions. Now I'll go through the chat section and read out some of the questions, and Nerida will attempt to answer those as best we can. What I do ask is that if your question is very specific to your child, then what we will do is we'll jot those down, and then we'll ask your child to come into the Pathways office to speak with Mr. Skirripa or Miss Williams. And if it's a generic question for the majority of people in here, then we will answer those questions. So please, we'll have about 15 minutes of question time now. So please write your question into the chat, and then we'll answer those questions as we're going along. Thank you.
Okay, so please, if you have some questions, feel free to pop them into the chat panel now and we will answer them. If you've got a question, I can assure you there's probably others thinking and wondering the exact same. I'll just give people a couple of minutes to get organised. Please be brave. We won't necessarily read out your name. I think with the VOC MyWay pathway, it's very personalised, and I do have a lot of contact with families, so you may already have emailed through any queries. As Mr. Damon mentioned, on the day of the subject selections, the 4th of August, I don't have any actual scheduled appointments. I'll be available to chat to people. Have we got a question?
So we've just had a question. Is there an accounting course for 2021 for Year 12s?
That's on page 18 and 19 of that course handbook. Let me just check my notes, or Mr. Damon's just going to have a look at that page. Like I said, page 18, 19 in the handbook, it's all listed and you'll see it on the subject selection sheet. We're just double checking for you in the way of accounting. We've got Accounting and Finance ATAR, but in terms of general pathway students, some of you will have already enrolled in Cert 3 Business. I'm just looking at the list myself.
I guess in terms of an accounting ATAR pathway subject, we would probably recommend if your child is on a VOC MyWay pathway and they were going to study an ATAR subject, that we would probably recommend that only being mathematics applications, rather than trying to get into doing 2 or 3, and therefore they're really meeting the requirements closely of the Uni MyWay pathway.
That's right. So no, there's no general subject on offer there. We have another question.
Can the presentation be emailed?
Can the presentation be emailed? We'll have to get our IT team to look at that. It's very big, so I don't know if that's possible. We might have to defer to Mr. Rick Williams and he can talk about the tech side of things.
The full presentation is being recorded, and sometime later this week, as Ms. Williams said at the start, we'll put a link to YouTube and publish it to all parents.
There you go. So it'll be a good resource to go back to and check with your sons and daughters.
We've just had a question. What is classed as a VET qualification?
So VET qualification is your nationally recognised certificates. So at the college, we offer Cert 2 in sport coaching and the Cert 3 in business. All of the other VET, vocational education and training qualifications, are on offer with those external training providers. So it's really for the Year 12s that want to sort of go down a more industry specific pathway. The VOC MyWay pathway has a lot of acronyms. I do apologise if that wasn't very clear, if the whole concept of VET is new to you.
And we had a question about where can we download the subject selection form from. That link has been sent out, and we'll ensure that another link is sent out to all families so that you can download that subject selection form.
It's also in the sector documents as well. So there's the handbook and the subject selection form, and that form you do need to complete both the front and back and bring it to your interview. The interview on Tuesday the 4th of August is really a quick 15-minute snapshot just to log your 6 subjects and your 2 reserves into the online portal and secure yourself a place on the grid for subjects in 2021.
And if I can add to the subject selection form, I think a lot of students really focus on the front page about choosing their 6 subjects, and they don't put as much thought and effort into the back page, which is about their pathway. So please really have that strong conversation with your child about where they want to go post Year 12, because then that does help to ensure they are in the right subjects, because maybe we could offer some suggestions on different subjects that may be more suited to where they want to go in terms of pathways. So please make sure they do complete that back page and come with that on Tuesday.
Excellent. Any more questions?
We've had a question. If my son is attending TAFE, does that count as a VET qualification?
That's exactly right. So those external VET qualifications, external certificates, they are delivered off campus. So they're the students that would go out every Friday. 1 day a week to the actual training provider. So it might be in Fremantle with FEC, it might be at North Metropolitan TAFE, South Metropolitan TAFE. It depends on who the training provider is offering the course. But yes, so it might be a Cert 2 in plumbing, the students enrolled at with Master Plumbers, that's considered a vet qualification. So one of the external vet qualifications. So they're nationally recognised certificates, setting them up on an industry pathway. I think we've got another one.
Is the Cert 4 in education support a competitive course to get into?
With the courses at Fremantle Education Centre, because they're fee for service, it's very much a commercial arrangement. If you as a family decide that you want your son or daughter to pursue that, you fill in an expression of interest and they get passed on, and you're pretty much guaranteed from FEC a place in the course. However, we really want to set our students up for success. Cert 4 is quite rigorous. It's equivalent to an ATAR subject in terms of the volume of learning. So there will be a few hoops to jump through at the school level. There's a form I get the students to complete, asking them, what's the why? Why do you want to enrol in a Cert 4? What's your motivation? So what are your grades? Do you have your OLNA? I get their head of community to make a little comment just about their work ethic, and from there, if everything also their past experiences and you know, their college report, and then from there we definitely give them that opportunity.
We've got a lot of questions rolling through, so please keep them coming. We have had a question about, do I have to attend next Tuesday's meeting with my child? And I suppose I can answer that one by saying you don't have to go. However, we do really encourage that you do attend, just to have that rich conversation with the course advisor, in particular if your child is a bit unsure about what subjects they would like to study in Year 12. But certainly it's not compulsory. We just strongly encourage you to go. If for some reason you can't make it, then we really make sure that all the forms are fully completed. You signed them to accept that the subjects that they are choosing you agree and support. Otherwise, we can't process those forms. I've got a question here. If my son wants to do a business Cert 4 course at Fremantle, how do you go about doing that?
Yep. Okay, so that's just a case of popping into the Pathways office, having a conversation with myself. I will pass on all of the relevant paperwork. So it's the paperwork for Fremantle Education Centre. It's that second sheet that I was saying we get them to fill in at the school level just to ensure it's a good fit for them and their ability. And I will have all that paperwork available on the Tuesday. I'll have a little stand set up for vocational education and training opportunities, and I get called into lots of meetings. So as soon as the student says to their course advisor, I'm keen to look at the Cert 4 in business, they will call me over and I can work with them. What we're finding though is a lot of students are getting themselves organised now before Tuesday's meeting, and they're most welcome to do that. I would suggest Wednesday, Thursday, Friday this week, call into the office, Pathways office up near the cafe, and we can certainly get you started.
Next question we've had, is workplace learning logbook compulsory and what does it entail?
So the Workplace Learning Logbook, it's a document that's provided by SCASA, the School Curriculum and Standards Authority. Part of achieving that endorsed unit, the C grade, is 55 hours on the job, the logbook and the skills journal. And the logbook is basically evidence. So it gets students to record their hours of attendance, they list down the sort of tasks they're doing, and their host employer signs as evidence that they were in attendance. And it also has a performance profile. So it's just a tick box, but it's giving the students some really valuable feedback on, you know, punctuality, initiative, their communication skills. And there's a comment, which I always think is very valuable. But that logbook sets them up really well if they decide then to pursue an interview or an apprenticeship, a traineeship and so on, because they can go in and prove that they have actually done some time on the job.
Next question we've had is, can a student get a HEX debt for a Cert 4 in health and nursing studies?
With the VET certificates on offer to high school students, they are fee for service, so they are at the expense or paid for by the parents. Students are full-time students, so if they, full-time high school students that is, if they were at TAFE full-time, they could certainly tap into vet fee help, which is the equivalent of HECS. But the offer of the Cert 4s and the fee-for-service arrangements, they are very much at the expense of the parents. Those prices that I had listed, different providers are a bit different, but basically there's a non-refundable deposit paid, and then Fremantle Education Centre has instalments. Health Sciences Hub is a one-off payment. So, it's a big decision as to whether you pursue it. If it's something you're really keen to pursue, but financially you're concerned, certainly come and have a chat, and I can put you in contact with the directors at those two training providers, and you definitely have a chat. That payment is between you and the RTO. It's totally separate to the college.
And sorry, I'll jump back in. We've had another question about if parents are required to attend the appointment on Tuesday. We strongly encourage you to attend the meetings with your child, just so that everyone's well aware of the subjects that are chosen, and if there needs to be discussion about the subjects that they are choosing and the pathway they want to go on post Year 12. But we do understand that parents are working and it may be difficult to get out of work. So if you can't attend, we need to make sure that you have got all those forms filled out with your signature at the bottom, approving the subjects that your child has chosen for Year 12. Another question has come through. If we have the paperwork for a Cert 4 at FEC, do we need to give it in on Tuesday, or can we do it afterwards?
Okay, so that paperwork can come to me anytime up until about mid-term 4. But I guess the sooner you hand it over, the sooner we can sort of secure you a place. So certainly if you've got it ready to hand in on Tuesday, I'll be here available in the ARC, and you can hand it to me directly, or get your son or daughter to drop it into me in the office. I will keep a running list of who has registered an interest, and I will chase them up.
Had another question regarding the Cert 4s. Do you have to do a Cert 4 to gain entry to uni via the VOC MyWay pathway?
You really do. The Cert 4, it's, originally set up for diplomas and advanced diplomas at TAFE. Once upon a time, you could use it to access university. However, in more recent times, the universities have said Cert 4 does not prepare you for university. So what we find, all of them do then apply for an enabling course, so Uni Ready, FlexiTrack, the different enabling courses, what you might recall from years gone by as a bridging course, and that's when the students learn the academic writing and referencing to the standard of university. So in short, Cert 4 students do then go on to apply for an enabling course at university. It's delivered over 13 weeks, so their first semester at uni, and studies have shown the students that do the Cert 4 onto the enabling course actually transition to university more smoothly. So it is a really ideal way to enter. And remember, they're entering via an alternate pathway. Otherwise, it's the traditional way, the Uni MyWay, which, is something that was not for them back in Year 11.
We don't have any more questions at the moment, but we'll stay on for another couple of minutes just to see if there's any last minute questions. So if you still do have a question, please pop it in the chat.
Thank you to all the people that did take the time to comment. Oh, we've got one more here.
When the ATAR students commence exams, do the teachers look for workplace for the student, or does the student have to scout themselves?
Okay, great question. The Pathways team, we have an admin officer who sources the placements. We do work very closely with all the stakeholders. So there's, we ask students for their feedback as to the sort of areas they might like to try. And then if you've got your own contacts, it's always a great way to secure a place in maybe an area that's a bit more tricky to source. But certainly all the communication is between the Pathways office, the student, the parents, and potential host employers. So we basically set it up and do all the paperwork, all of the insurance, and communicate with you every step of the way. Okay, so we might wrap it up there. If you think about this once the webinar has finished, please feel free to send an email through to pathways@servite.wa.edu.au. And we can certainly answer them, because I know what it's like. Sometimes you'll be thinking, oh, I forgot to ask that, or you've just thought a bit more about it. But we really thank you for your participation this evening.
So we just had one last question pop up. Is it possible not to do a Cert 4 course and do an enabling course to get into uni?
It is. That is certainly an option. If you're, concerned about your student being, your son or daughter being off campus a day a week to do a Cert 4, or maybe it's a cost factor, in September of Year 12, Mr. Skirapa will assist students and they can apply via TISC to an enabling course at uni the year after. So really good question. Cert 4 doesn't mean it stops those opportunities down the track. They could certainly still apply to TISC. Oh, thank you very much. Got a lovely little feedback there. Thank you. Yeah, sure. I'll just hand back to Mr. Damon.
Thanks, Nerida, and thank you very much for everyone's participation tonight. Hopefully, it was a very informative session for you, and we've been able to answer the questions that were asked, that you've asked. A reminder that this has been recorded, and and the link will be sent out throughout the remainder of the week, so that you can download it and watch it again at your own leisure. We also will send out a survey just for your feedback on this evening. Obviously, it's the first time we've run one of these sessions for Year 11 parents going into Year 12. So we would really appreciate your feedback as to the what we could do to improve and the validity of having a webinar as opposed to a face-to-face. So we do appreciate your feedback and also your questions. And as Nerida mentioned, if you do have any other questions that we haven't been able to get to this evening, please shoot them through to the Pathways team, and they'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you again for your participation, and enjoy the rest of your evening.